Ring the bell.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Slam Society. Welcome to our review show here of Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. I'm one of your hosts, Karlifornia. This is Jooseyboy. How are you doing, bro?
Yeah, dude, not bad. This is probably the third or fourth Bloodsport event overall that I have seen since it's been going. I watched the first and the second Bloodsport event when that first became a thing. I was really impressed with it. Haven't seen any in a while. So, you know, this was my first foray back into Bloodsport in quite a bit. And, you know, I was fairly impressed with what I saw. So, yeah, this is, of course, as I'm sure you're about to get to, part of our ongoing WrestleMania week coverage. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, hit that bell for the notifications, and all that good fucking shit.
Yeah, we are your hub. We are your hub for WrestleMania week.
This is your central hub for WrestleMania week. If you want coverage that's not colored by self-absorption and an attempt on the part of the host to get themselves over and make a name, which I'm not interested in. Otherwise, I wouldn't be acting like such a fuckhead on a regular basis. All right, there was 12 matches booked for this mega card. Obviously, Shayna Baszler from WWE performing on the card, which was for me one of the must-see matches on the card. Nemeth from Impact Wrestling. Nemeth from Impact Wrestling performing against Speedball Mike Bailey. Definitely a must-see. I'm a huge fan of Nick Nemeth and Speedball Mike Bailey. And there was myriad other matches as well, some of which surprised me to see because I hadn't looked up the whole card. But anyway, let's get into it, my friend.
Right, yes, April 4th, 2024, Penns Landing Caterers in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I believe this is the fourth show this week for WrestleMania week coverage. There's going to be a few more things. Going to be reviewing SmackDown, the Hall of Fame. Going to be reviewing Ring of Honor, unfortunately. And maybe a few other little things here and there.
Super Card of Honor, I think that's tomorrow, isn't it? So
correct, Mundo.
We'll be back for that.
It's going to be a hectic few days, bro. Hectic. But anyway, let's get on with Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 10.
Yeah.
Interesting concept. We reviewed. I don't know if it was me by myself, but we did number 9 last year. So this will be a yearly thing for the Slam Society.
Yeah, last year you did it, but there was a scheduling thing. I wasn't able to do the review that day, whatever. But anyways, before you even get into your spiel, I want to make a quick couple of comments before I forget about it. Out of the box right here, I like the look of this venue. This felt like a place where there should be underground, you know, professional prize fights being held. They were able to get a good amount of people in there. It looked good because the venue wasn't too big. You know, the entrances were nice and simple, just a simple curtain. They come out, they do their entrance, and then usually both competitors would walk back after the fight. So it had a much more sport-based feel to it rather than, you know, personal grudge matches and stuff like that. You know, that's the first really refreshing thing you notice. As Carl was just alluding to, the format of the show, heavily mixed martial arts influence. You can only win by a TKO or a submission, or I believe there are some other conditions that can cause the match to end as well.
Like a referee stoppage for some reason.
Ref stoppage, that's right. The ref also, it's his discretion when to call it, as it is in mixed martial arts. So believe it or not, the fact that you can't pin or use the ropes and turnbuckles, it invites creativity to think of different ways to work around these rules and work around the non-existence of the ropes. You know, and our back at wrestling days, you know, working on bases without ropes, it's like it's fun. You know, if anyone's ever done Brazilian jiu-jitsu, it's this real fun hybrid of sort of pro wrestling with a mixed martial arts costume on it, if you could say that.
Absolutely, bro. And you know what? I looked at the card for this show before I started watching it, and because that's how I start off writing my notes put all the matches down. The card was like almost completely different, or had even more matches than I thought it was going to be. And one thing that was a surprise to not just myself, but a lot of people when I started watching the show, Charlie Dempsey from NXT, William Regal's son, he made his entrance, and I don't think anyone knew he was going to be on the show. So that excited me. And this show is unique in a way, Jooseyboy, because it featured talent from TNA, MLW, AEW, New Japan, Big Japan, NXT, and WWE. So that's kind of a rare thing in wrestling these days. Obviously, that's the Nick Khan effect coming in, because nothing like that really ever happened except for those Brian Pillman Jr. Brian Pillman memorial shows in the late 90s with WCW, ECW, and the WWF. Anyway.
Put it this way, in modern times, post 99, when WWF at the time first went public, you never saw that stuff. That stopped. Pre 99, you had some of it, you know, and now we have it in this new era. And that's why we have it, because there's no longer that weird Vince McMahon all-consuming his whole life is WWE, and therefore he has to control everything to such a degree. You can definitely tell there's a much more, I want to say, like traditional wrestling promoter mindset coming from the company, WWE.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's like remember the time that Bret the Hitman Hart wrestled Terry Funk in his retirement match in Amarillo, Texas, and I went over.
Good match.
Anyway, okay. So, first matchup on Bloodsport 10. AKIRA taking on Victor Benjamin.
All right, cool. I'll go first.
What are your thoughts, mate?
So, okay, so these two looked interesting. What I enjoy about the Bloodsport shows is that, you know, you sort of, if someone gives you the tagline of the concept for this show, it's sort of an MMA-esque done pro wrestling event, you sort of think that you're going to get all of those hard-hitting, you know, puroso style performers, but you don't. You get a nice mix of, you know, sometimes people you wouldn't even expect to see in the match. I felt like these guys, they had a little bit more of a pro wrestling influence. They had some character. They had a look. They had some costuming on, and I thought that kind of, it was interesting to see them starting out the show rather than a much more shoot style match, which, you know, we of course would see throughout the show going forward. But I thought this was a good way to start off the show. I'm going to actually eschew, that is to say, eliminate my normal rating system from this particular review, because Bloodsport is so different that I can't really rate the matches the way that I would matches in sort of a more traditional format. So I'm going to say I liked this. I thought it was a good way to open the show.
You know, yeah, and let's be honest, mate. Your scoring system is very flawed. Very flawed.
Talk. What do you think?
Very flawed.
What do you think of the match? Hey.
Oh, you want to know what I thought? Oh, okay. Yeah. I know of AKIRA because he's in MLW and he's feuding with Ricochet and Page right now. I'm loving MLW, but this was a nice way to start the show. I thought AKIRA was going to win, but when he hit him with that standing, he had him in a standing crossface, then suplexed him out of it. I thought it was going to be over soon after that. But then he got clipped with that sick gyro kick from Victor, who won by knockout. So that's the great thing about this show. There is 12 matches, but guess what? They don't last forever.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm going to bring up a little bit later in this review. But coming up next, bro, the second match on Bloodsport 10, Nemeth taking on Speedball Mike Bailey. This is exciting. This one, everyone was looking forward to it because, as we know, Bailey has that clear background in martial arts. Nemeth is a solid amateur wrestler. So this was going to be a barn burner. Couldn't see Nemeth losing this. And one thing I was thinking, like, he must be having so much fun right now. When he's in WWE, you know, he'd been there, he'd done everything, he'd been there for so long. Now he's getting to do interesting things like this. So I reckon he's having a ball. Really loved the finish. Bailey was trying to get to the ring post to get away from Nemeth, and I guess he was trying to get a sleeper hold in on him. Then he hit that zigzag. That's like the realest looking zigzag I've ever seen. I think what does he call it now? The danger zone. He clearly loves classic rock. And then he locked in a rear naked choke and won. Second match in a row, though, where the fans booed when there was a finish.
Yeah, I don't understand that, because if you're going to watch a show that's supposed to be like MMA, like, fights, then some of these finishes are going to be unexpected. They're going to come out of nowhere. They're going to happen sooner than you expect.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's bullshit.
That's the point I was going to make. It's like, don't tell me you wanted it to go longer and that's why you're booing. Don't tell me either you wanted Mike Bailey to go over or something like that.
Fuck that shit.
Nick was always going over in that match. But do you have anything to add to the Nick Mike Bailey match?
Yeah, I do. So this was probably the match that I was most looking forward to. I really liked the way that it felt as though Nemeth and Mike Bailey had studied each other before coming into this match. I do not like the commentators on this show. I'm going to throw that in there now. I first noticed that I wasn't really into the commentators in this match. I like the idea of Nemeth being aware of Bailey's kicks and being, aware to try to avoid him. He kept going back to that ankle pick, trying to take advantage of those kicks being thrown and pick it. This is an area where Nemeth thrives. Every time you would see him do some mat wrestling in WWE, it's like, man, why couldn't you get Nemeth versus Kurt Angle in his prime so that you could really see, what he can do in terms of just his technical ability. And I feel like we got to see a bit of that here. I agree with you. I really liked the finish. It was a zigzag that served a purpose. It was a quick way for him to create distance between Bailey and the post and get him back on the ground for the choke. So I love this. I think that this was exactly what it needed to be. And of course, Nemeth was going to win. It doesn't hurt Mike Bailey at all to take the loss. This can only elevate Mike Bailey. This is probably one of the biggest matches he's had of his career.
Excellent, bro. I just had to take my shoes off. My dogs were barking.
But yes, slippers on, brother.
First match went 5 minutes 6 seconds. The second match went 5 minutes 23. Get used to it. Get used to it. Right. Next matchup. Lindsay Snow, who you can check out my exclusive interview with Lindsay on the Insider's Edge podcast on this channel. She took on Lady Frost. So this was quite an interesting one here. Lady Frost being from AEW. I really thought, she was going to get a win here. But Jooseyboy, what did you think of the first matchup here in this short ladies tournament?
Well, I think I'm in love with Lindsay Snow. I think I'm in love with her.
There she is. There's my wife.
She's incredible. But in all seriousness, though, I honestly thought that number one on the part of the bookers, what a tremendous matchup. I felt like these two really meshed well in this type of match. I made a comment to you as I was watching that I think both Lindsay Snow and Lady Frost, they need to be in WWE. I reckon in the WWE system, with their training and everything that they have, all their resources, these two could thrive in that environment. They both, they have the look. They clearly have the wrestling chops. I think that, Lindsay Snow, for example, I could see her, really having some interesting showdowns against people like Nia Jax or against people like, what's her name? Valhalla. I can do Bianca Belair. And then, I can also see Lady Frost fitting in there quite well also. I thought that this was a really good match. I love the way that this finished as well. The finish kind of got me off guard in this match in a good way.
Me too.
I didn't see it coming. It was just like, boom, like that, and it's over. And I was like, that is exactly what I want to see on a show like this. So far, 3 matches in, and, I have nothing but good things to say about all of them, except for the commentators sucking and not really being enthused enough. at any point in the
Right,
show.
fair enough, mate. Yeah, it looks like Lindsay Snow's back with GCW. Her time in XPW is done. Big whoop. Everyone's time in XPW comes to an end, apparently. One thing I wanted to say, I thought, yeah, Lady Frost was going to win, so it was a very nice surprise to see Lindsay get the win. Frost is looking fit as fuck. Fit. Didn't realize she had a past in martial arts. Yes, great surprise victory. But to follow up on what you were saying, believe it or not, Lady Frost is 39 years old.
Wow.
So with WWE kind of going younger at the moment, especially with NXT and all that, even though she probably could pass for 25, let's be honest.
Oh yeah, she looks great. But anyway, man, they have plenty of older people there now. You know, they got AJ, they got LA Knight, you know, they still got Natty working in there. Like,
Yeah,
I think
it's true, but I think that they just got a plethora of those NXT ladies waiting to be put on the main roster. That's why I think that, you know, Lindsay Snow, she's the same age as me, 37. So, not saying that they wouldn't be able to do it. I'm just thinking about the WWE mindset. Anyway, and that match only went 2 minutes and 16 seconds.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was obvious to me that the fans weren't enjoying that the matches were ending quickly. So, you know.
What the fuck do you hang on, let me say something.
What do they want?
This might be something that you can clip for a short. I don't know. What do you got 12 matches on the card. Clearly it's booked that way because some of them are going to end quicker than expected. All right. And some of them are going to go for longer. If you're already getting annoyed within the first few matches at the what you perceive to be a short running time for the matches, well, where do you expect the card to go? What do you expect match number 7 and 8 and 9 to do?
Exactly.
What is going to be done? What is there going to be left to do in match number 12, Josh Barnett's match? If everything gets done in the match, it just doesn't make sense.
If this is a situation of, if this were real, what might happen? And these fights aren't going to go that long, because if this were real, they would probably end in under 10 minutes, depending on the situation. Anyway.
And you just quickly before moving, you'd think anyone with half a brain that bought a ticket to this show,
well, most wrestling fans don't have half a brain,
would Google it and have some level of inkling of what kind of event it was.
No, Jooseyboy, come on. There's only been 9 of them.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's not like they're a well-established part of WrestleMania.
No, it hasn't been going around a decade or anything.
No,
anyway, let's get to the next match, bro. Janai Kai, the MLW Women's Featherweight Champion, one of my favorites from MLW, taking on Marina Shafir from AEW. So I was happy to see MLW getting represented here. One thing, and I think I said it last year, why does Marina throw her socks into the crowd? That's just inviting creepiness from weird wrestling fans that don't get any. You know what I mean? She did it twice in this show. I don't get it. I don't understand the whole idea behind that.
It's really weird to, you know, some fucking sweaty, greasy cunt probably walked home with that sock stuff down his underpants.
Yeah. Wrapped around his member. But one thing I notice about Janai, I always notice about her, she's got the thighs out for the guys, bro. Those are some solid thighs. When she hits those kicks, you know that there's a heap of power behind them. And this is one thing that I like from this match, because I knew Marina was going to win, but there were a few moments with those educated feet, as Sassafras educated feet there, Tanaka, when she hit Marina in the head with a couple of these kicks, a thrust kick to the head, all of these kicks, and Marina sold it like she was almost out. I really liked it. That was probably the highlight of the show by this point for me. But then she managed to make Janai tap out to a choke. I believe it was called Mother's Milk. I felt the finish was a little disappointing, despite the fact that I really enjoyed the match. So do you have any further thoughts on Shafir and Janai?
Yeah, the only thing is I slightly disagree with your assessment of the finish because I felt like the finish they were really on the ground for that last part of the match, and it's kind of like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu struggle. She ends up, over a period of time managing to hook those arms and then get her legs in position to apply the hold. So
It's like a
I kind of
snake.
I kind of liked it because it felt like the submission was earned. But that's basically the only thing I would have to add. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
It was like an anaconda. Right, let's move forward. Matt Makowski. Never heard of this guy. He came out with Tracy Williams, and he was taking on NXT's own and the NXT Heritage Cup champion, Charlie Dempsey. Take it away, Juicy Boy.
Great effort from both guys. I think Charlie Dempsey definitely has his father's physicality in terms of the mat wrestling and the chain wrestling. I think they may actually be. It's hard for anyone to really be in better ring condition than William Regal in his prime, but Charlie Dempsey may well be better condition than his father was at the same age. He's just in tremendous shape. I thought both guys did good. I think that considering that Dempsey's opponent was much lesser known, I think that it was nice to see that Charlie Dempsey didn't just go out there and completely destroy him. But also, I'm glad this didn't outstay its welcome. It was exactly what it needed to be as we start getting towards the middle of a fight card like this.
Yep, I'm loving Charlie Dempsey's journey in wrestling right now. He's the NXT Heritage Cup champion. As I said, he wrestled in All Japan for the Triple Crown. Now he's working Bloodsport. So he's clearly his father's son, let's be honest. And you know what? He does this incredible move where he hits a fall away slam, but he does it into a bridging pin. And I never understood how he was able to do that. You know how smart he is? And you know how I know that he's his father's son? Because he didn't hit that move in this match, because why would he?
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do a pin. But it's a great move. Every time I see him wrestle, he does something different that I've never seen before. I thought this Makowski guy did well, and he's stuck in there with him. I don't have much knowledge on this guy, so I was thinking that maybe Charlie was probably the more well-rounded wrestler going into this, and assumed Makowski must be like an independent wrestler. But that's not a knock on him. That's just my pigeonhole thoughts because I don't know anything about him. Like the double wrist lock after that shoot-looking German suplex. This was probably the best match of the show thus far. Let's move forward. The next singles match, Takuya Nomura taking on Fuminori Abe. It's time for a bit of Japanese flavor in this show, and we usually get that. And I say that because I've only seen one Bloodsport before this, but I remember it happening last year. Not heard of these two guys before. I believe they both wrestled for Big Japan. It was stiff, exactly as I expected. There's a slap fight, all of this stuff. A stalemate throughout. Nomura was bleeding from the head, I believe, from Abe hitting a headbutt. And he managed to put him to sleep, Nomura did, after some strikes with a sleeper hold. So it was serviceable, I would say. What say you, Juicy Boy?
Yeah, this was pretty meh for me. I found myself. It's not that it was bad, but I found myself just thinking like, yeah, it's just
Yeah,
the same. Old,
yeah.
It's just the same
How
old.
about?
I don't want. It's the same old slap fight, same old stiff shots, and I feel like within the context of the matches we're already seeing on the card, it's just more of the same that we already see. I feel we see a lot of it in regular wrestling, and yeah, just didn't really do it for me. But yeah,
Very muff, very muff. Next matchup, Juice Boy, Erik Hammer taking on Lou Nixon, who I've seen from a few times. He wrestled in XPW. I believe he's good friends with Big F and Joe. Juicy Boy, take it away.
yeah, like I thought this was pretty good. I think that it didn't really kind of meet the standard of sort of the first 3 or 4 matches on the card. So I think by this time I was kind of probably measuring the matches by, those earlier matches, what I had just seen. Obviously the Charlie Dempsey match as well. So I think like I would describe this match as serviceable, but it's not really, nothing particularly stands out about it for me in comparison to some of the other matches.
Right. This is a kind of a point that I want to make. It's like there was nothing wrong with this match. There was nothing wrong with it. It was fine. But when it gets to this point in the show, it's almost like, okay, now I know why they only do one of these a year, because it can get a little bit old after a while. And this kind of was just a little bit there, even though it was decent. If this was a 4-match show, I'm sure it probably might stand out a bit more. But because there was 12, it's kind of like a bit of, could have, if it wasn't even on the show, would have it mattered? That's kind of how I feel.
I kind of found myself thinking like at this point in the card, like it would be nice if, say, in future blood sports, they could have a match where it's just a Brazilian jiu-jitsu match, and that's what that match is. So, you just have normal blood sport match, no match, and then this one's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu match. Then you maybe later in the card you have a kickboxing match, and you actually can, have it under rules that may be different, and that might change it up a little bit. I sort of had that idea.
Yeah,
as
fair enough. I did notice that Erik Hammer had locked in an arm lock on Lou Nixon, and he appeared to yank on his arm, but he kind of lost his grip, and Erik was tapping out when he wasn't even being touched. But sorry, Lou was tapping out when he wasn't being touched. But that's a nitpick. Let's move forward. The ever beloved Minoru Suzuki taking on Royce Isaacs in the next matchup. Obviously, Suzuki I'm quite familiar with. Royce, I do not know much about him. I think the last time I saw him, he wrestled Johnny Bloodsport at the last Bloodsport. I do like Minoru Suzuki. I've said this a few times, but I do get annoyed sometimes with the constant no-selling. Yes, I know it's his thing. But sometimes it's just like, come on, bro. Like, I watched a match with him and Satoshi Kojima in MLW recently, and everything Kojima did, nothing. And Kojima still went over, and I'm just like, come on, bro. I get it. My favorite part of this, though, was when Suzuki was kind of playing around and he kept on going to the outside, starting the 10 count again, sat on a woman's lap at ringside. I found it quite humorous, and he ended up putting him to sleep after a gotch pile driver, which I thought was fantastic. A great finish. Jooseyboy, thoughts?
Yeah, I just found myself thinking, God, I'm over Minoru Suzuki, That's honestly how I felt watching this. I was just like, oh.
It seems like he shows up everywhere, right?
Yeah, at first it was like they would wheel him out, it would be a treat to see him, and now it seems like he's showing up on every fucking, show that's not WWE, and now here he comes out again to do some more no-selling and then do some humorous things where it's like a contrast between his tough guy persona and things that he's doing. And that's all I think about it. I'm over it, man. Just over it.
Is at this point in the show that your brother Nick sent me a text message with a picture of Nick Khan at Bloodsport. Yeah, that's our boy right there, Nick Khan. Okay, next matchup, singles match. Axel Tischer takes on Timothy Thatcher. I believe Axel's German.
Yeah.
What did you think, bro?
Loved it. Big fan of Timothy Thatcher.
Oh, I knew you would be. I knew it. So predictable.
Fuck up. Anyways,
No,
I like the fact that there's competitors from all over the world. I love the fact that, for everyone saying Forbidden Door in AEW, like this show is a real Forbidden Door. Actual talents from genuine.
It actually is.
Yeah, it actually is. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this. This was exactly what I had hoped to see from a Timothy Thatcher match. And I feel like Axel held his own quite good. Yeah.
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 I don't have much to add. What you said was I matched those thoughts, but I will say I did like Timothy Thatcher's theme song, Bad Religion, very nice. Okay, you know what? We're gonna move forward again, mate.
Yeah.
Singles match. Here we go. This is what we're talking about. Shayna Baszler takes on Masha Slamovich. Interesting, bro. Seeing a battle of NXT, sorry, not NXT, WWE and TNA. Wicked. Masha's chance to shine here. Masha's only 25 years old. I think she could be signed. I think she's terrific. Was surprised to see Jordynne Grace flanking her and Zoey Stark flanking Shayna. Very cool. Early highlight. Shayna catching Masha's head kick and hitting a regal plex, bro. Come on. A regal plex. I forgot that move existed, and I'm like, wow, that was such a great move. I like the struggle early on. Masha was clearly the favorite. She's not only a TNA regular, but she's one of the champions in GCW right now. Did you see that suplex that what was that she hit on Shayna? It was like a pump handle when she threw her in like a German suplex direction. That was insane, dude. What a bump. Anyway, love the finish where Masha was kind of like struggling to get out of some sort of ankle pick or something, and then she just got her head stomped in until it was over. So what did you think, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that this was one of the better matches on the show. I think, I'm glad that Shayna Baszler is getting the opportunity to do this because she's criminally underused considering what she is able to do in the ring. I agree with you. I think Masha should be signed to WWE as well. I think she'd be wasted in AEW.
Absolutely.
And so, this was really good. This kind of got me a bit more back into the show after a bit of a lull.
Yeah, it was a bit of a lull, wasn't it? There's nothing against those performers, but it was this was exciting to see these two really get stiff in there, and it was cool. But one thing I did not like though was after the match, the crowd chanted "Fuck you, Shayna." What did you think was going to happen? What you thought she was going to put over? She's from WWE, mate. Like they're all going over, dude.
WWE, they may be, collaborating, but let's not go crazy. They're not loaning out their talent to lose. You know what I mean?
It makes all the sense of the world. Anyway, let's get to the finals of the women's Bloodsport tournament here. Marina Shafir taking on your new girlfriend, Lindsay Snow. Jooseyboy, take it away.
This was also fantastic. I think that
biased.
Shut up, man.
You got a crush on her. Everything she does is great.
I think that Marina Shafir, I think, has a presence that says like she means business. I could see her in a big match against the likes of Rhea Ripley or Bianca Belair. I can just see that. It was the right call. Like, I think that this match was interesting because I think a lot of people might have been expecting it to be Shayna versus Marina in the finals, or perhaps Marina versus Lady Frost. So I think that it might have been a bit unexpected for Lindsay Snow to end up in that spot. But I think that was a good decision because, again, with this type of event, you want the idea to be the constant sense of urgency. These could end at any time. The results are never going to be foregone. There were no foregone conclusions on this show, in my opinion.
Except for the WWE wrestlers.
Yeah, bar that.
And Nemeth.
But yeah, I thought this was really good. Honestly, I think this worked really well. I want to see these women do more in sort of on a bigger platform.
Very fair. It's, fair enough. Very good, bro. I thought it was kind of, I had a feeling Marina was going to win because they already had one AEW person lose. So I don't know. I just had a feeling. Wasn't sure about the finish. The finish was interesting. Snow got kicked in the head and she like kind of tumble to the outside, but the referee was already calling for the bell before she'd even completed the bump to the outside. And I thought, I get the referee's discretion thing, but can we at least see her like being completely laid out? Because she seemed to get up quite quickly after he called for the bell. And I thought, I'm not sure about that, but that's okay.
I think it was because she was knocked directly out of the ring.
Oh, so it's like sumo wrestling, is it?
That's what I assumed, because they didn't do it through any of the rest of the show. And if you notice, nobody else went out of the ring on the full throughout the show.
Yeah, maybe that's a rule. If you get drop punted in the head and you fly out the ring, it's over. Fair enough, mate. Well, I think we should get to our main event of the evening here. Josh Barnett. It's his blood sport, and he's taking on Johnny Bloodsport, John Hennigan, Johnny Nitro, Johnny Impact,
John Morrison, Johnny Mundo,
Johnny TV, Johnny. Why wasn't he called Johnny Elite in AEW? No, because you're not in the Elite. Just assuming that that's what the reason was. Okay, Juicy Boy. Is it my turn to go first?
I don't know.
Like the crowd was split. I was thinking Matt Riddle might show up because he was in charge of it was Matt Riddle's blood sport, the first one. I was thinking maybe he'll show up and challenge Josh for next year's, and the winner gets to take the blood sport name back or keep it. And if Riddle loses, he could just start a new one called Matt Riddle's Bro Sport.
Shut up!
I knew that was going to annoy you. I knew it.
Going. Just keep going.
Matt Riddle's Bro Sport.
Just.
Okay. Yeah, this is great. You know, I thought we were going to get a victory here for the big, bad, bustling Josh Barnett. I don't know what that. I like the spin kick he hit on him, but that gut wrench bomb or whatever it was they called it, I don't know what that was, but it looks so dangerous. Barnett wins by referee stoppage. Juicy Boy, your thoughts on the main event?
Yeah, it still boggles my mind that every time Johnny's been signed to WWE, he ends up getting released. It just boggles my mind. And now that he's at this age that he is, now he's kind of got that grizzled veteran thing going for him as well. I just don't get. The guy is just an incredible talent. I was surprised to see him on here because I hadn't looked up the card. I thought he looked great. I think the only problem
still got a six-pack, dude.
The problem is, though, if you compare Josh Barnett physically to Johnny, Josh Barnett looked bad physically. He kind of looked a bit out of shape and a bit, pudgy in comparison. Obviously,
body shaming, body cancelled, body shaming.
Shut up! Shut the fuck up, everyone that thinks that. All right. So, but luckily that doesn't really matter too much in this kind of card. Still, it was something that crossed my mind. I was like, okay, Johnny Bloodsport looks like he actually looks like someone out of a martial arts movie, But getting to the match itself, Josh Barnett always just tremendous with this style, this MMA influenced style of professional wrestling. And I think that he is, obviously the event is named after him for a reason. He's one of the best in the world at that style. I want to note something as I talk about that. It reminds me, right? Josh Barnett is everything that Jon Moxley wishes he could be as a performer. And earlier on in the broadcast, I heard the commentator saying that, Jon Moxley speaks highly of Marina Shafir. So, that's really high praise. Like, as if Jon Moxley is well known for his, submissions and his striking and shit like that. Okay? Josh Barnett, that's a guy that knows about his submissions and his strikings and his body control. Because he put on a mat wrestling clinic against Johnny Bloodsport here. And the story was told around Johnny Bloodsport can basically do any physical maneuver that he wants through the air with his body. He can maneuver out of these submissions and stuff, but once he's on the ground and immobile, all of that ability that he has, that seemingly magic athleticism that he has, goes out the window. And that was the story they built around this. I also didn't really know what the fuck was up with the finish, but I like the idea that it finished on a slam because those are some of the most brutal, impactful ways for an MMA fight to win. So I enjoyed that.
Very good, bro. Well, there we've come to the end of the review here for Bloodsport 10. Fun show, very fun.
I'm
I
gonna
think
probably
it will continue to be a staple of WrestleMania week for the Slam Society. Do you have a rating out of 10, Juice Boy?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give this show a 9 out of 10.
Oh,
And you know why? You know why? Because it may not have been the most exciting show in the world. It may not have been the most glamorous show in the world, but it was 100% what was advertised. Okay? I got exactly what I wanted to see coming out of this show, bro.
That's very nice, bro. Well, at this time, Juice Boy, I'm not going to give it a rating. I'm not going to give it a rating. I just said I'm just going to say I had a fun time. At this time, we're going to do what we're gonna start doing this on a bunch of our reviews. We're going to look at some tweets. Some tweets or some comments from people online, and we're going to respond to them. Juicy Boy, I know you've got one lined up there, and it's going to pop up on the screen for all of y'all. What's the first tweet that you'd like to respond to here?
Yeah, so this one comes from a user called Rpit, and his profile picture is Eddie Kingston. And the username is at Rpit. I don't know. So, and it says, quote, AEW this, WWE that, Will Ospreay this, Seth Rollins that, suck my dick. Capital letters. Dean and Josh Barnett's Bloodsport is the real deal. For the sickos. Wrestling should only be for the sickos. Fuck the casual fans. Fuck newer fans. Give me a Demas versus Mad Dog bloodbath. Fuck casual fans, hey? Who do you think's buying the tickets to that event? It's people that are in town to watch WrestleMania, you absolute fucking troglodyte.
Still likes or comments or retweets. Fucking hell. What a weird take.
You're an idiot, dude.
He has no likes, comments, or retweets. 39 views. Unbelievable. Okay, let's see what I found here. This one, okay, this was one of the first things that I saw on Twitter after the show. From at Santos All Elite. So we know where this is headed. What damn courage, 3 angry faces. That a jobber of average status has beaten a great fighter, Mike Bailey. That not only he had one of the best matches in his history with Ospreay. Really, what courage with the Nemeth shovel. Of all people, Nick Nemeth does not have a shovel. And then to finish it, it says Nemeth with 3 rude fingers. He didn't book the finish. It wasn't his decision, but come on, he's not going to lose to Mike Bailey, bro. Just take it easy.
Probably, you know what? I'm going to say this. That fan right there, if you could rewind to 2011, this was the exact type of fan that was barking and crying that The Undertaker wasn't jobbing to Dolph Ziggler on Superstars. Now here we are, like, all these years later, and apparently Nemeth's the one that buries people and shit like that. Have you heard of the Spirit Squad?
He was a caddy.
White was?
He was a caddy.
He was carrying around a Mexican guy's fucking golf clubs for the first year of his
No, there's
career.
anything wrong with him being a Mexican guy.
Not at all.
No, he's pretending to be Caucasian.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. All right, is there any more?
There's a few more, bro. There's a few more. There's like 4 more.
All right.
Okay. I was a bit disappointed in this one because this is from JG Pro Wrestling, Jacob Grundy, right? I follow him and he follows me. I don't know if he was being sarcastic here, but he said he was replying to somebody saying WWE talent was on Bloodsport 10 though. I bet we see a few wrestlers in the clusterfuck too. That's not very nice. Just because they're from WWE doesn't mean they're not real wrestlers. Yes, they're sports entertainers, but things
It
are
means they're
changing.
actually like the best wrestlers in the world, the best trained, you know.
Another tweet here from Christy2513. I love seeing Lady Frost in that AEW hoodie. Hashtag Bloodsport10. Is that really a thought that you...
That's what you took away from it? Like, that's what... So
I'm not trying to make
happened,
fun of it, but I just thought that was a thought in your head. You're like, oh, I've got to
yeah,
tweet that.
everything that happened on this show, and your big takeaway was, she's wearing an AEW hoodie. Acknowledgement. Tony Khan's a part of this. He's a part of this too.
Mate, I
See,
preferred it when she
everybody?
took the hoodie off, mate. You know what I mean? All right, let's move forward. The next one. Okay. All right. Oh, this is the one that annoyed me the most. Okay. At
Here we go.
Lynch Reborn. Finally, I can turn this crap off. I just don't get it. Every time a match is about to get momentum, it randomly ends. That is not appealing to me. Then you don't understand the concept, Lynch. You don't understand the concept. If this were real, the matches aren't going to go hell long. There's 12 of them. You don't understand the concept. So guess what? Don't watch next year. Don't watch it anymore.
He says as well, finally, I finally have the chance to turn this off. You had the chance to turn it off literally immediately. You could have turned it off after the first match.
Yeah, turn it off when you're first upset about it, not sit through another 11 matches that go short. I can't wait to make a tweet after this.
Pick up my little phone.
That'll learn them. I'm going to make a tweet. I'm going to add the hashtag in Bloodsport10.
Yeah. Every time a match gets lots of momentum, it ends.
That is not appealing to me. Full stop. Bloodsport10. There you go. Hopefully they never make another one of these events again. Bite me, Lynch. Bite me. Okay. Here we go. Charlie Photo Guy, at Charlie Photo Guy. Think it's really cool to see WWE talent at some of the indie shows throughout the city. Glad to see wrestlers supporting each other. Hashtag WrestleMania, hashtag Bloodsport, hashtag GCW, hashtag indie wrestling. You know what, Charlie? That's a great attitude. Thank you. Thank you, Charlie.
Very nice. Well done,
I dig it.
Charlie.
I like it. Thank you, Charlie. And the last one I'm going to show here that I thought was quite funny. Tweeted by a guy by the name of at Lauderdale11. His name's Brett Lauderdale. Oh, that's right. He's the guy who's in charge of Game Changer Wrestling.
Ah, that guy.
Bloodsport was a spectacle. Thanks to everyone involved for making it happen. Only in GCW, and the pictures of him and our boy Nick Khan. Excellent. Excellent. Nick Khan taking time out of his busy schedule.
That's right. Taking time to go down and hang out with a bunch of yokels and, you know.
Yeah. And apparently Punk was there, Braun Strowman, Nia Jax, a whole bunch of them were down there. So very nice. Well, there we have it. There's the end of our review of Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 10, and of course our response to some critics and comments of the show. Juicy Boy, I've had fun. Have you?
Yeah, mate, it was pretty good. As we said at the outset, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. You know, that helps us out in the algorithm tremendously. We are on the way to 2K subscribers, and that's a very small amount in the grand scheme, but it still means the world to us. But anyway, we want to keep growing. We want to keep getting bigger. So help us out if you like what we do.
Need it.
We know you do. But yeah, I require it. I require it.
Well, thank you very much, Juicy Boy, and thank all of you out there for joining us here on the Slam Society for our review show here of Bloodsport 10.
Yeah, Slam!
Boy, once again, Slam Society. Have I said that already? Doesn't matter. Yeah. We'll see you next time, everyone. Thank you.